1140.
Feeding your passion for local sports in the afternoon. It's the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Draper on your radio at 1140 a.m.
Streaming audio at SacktownSports.com and the Sacktown Sports app.
You can also watch the show on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140. Here are the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Draper.
Well, Kyle Draper's not here today for two reasons. One, he's on vacation, should be back tomorrow. Two, I'm pretty sure he couldn't have come in even if he weren't on vacation because the Warriors won last night, and that was tough for him. I know it was tough for a lot of Kings fans in some ways to see both Buddy Hield last night and Tyrese Halliburton yesterday have big days. But before we get into any of that, I must apologize because I was ready to go today, raring to go. It's Monday. Here we go. And then just before our show started, I'm talking with Alan Stiles. Hey, Alan, what's going on? Yes, here's what's coming up. He, out of nowhere, comes up with this whole thing about James Harden on the Kings. And it almost physically made me ill, Kyle Ledbetter. I don't know. You probably had to deal with it all afternoon long with Alan Stiles' show here, 10 to 2 in Sacktown Sports. And I don't know if he was trying to irritate me but just the notion was so nauseating. I'm a little buckled by it.
It was disorienting to hear.
Yes. And it just kind of, like, wait, kind of almost dizzy. Why would you even suggest such a thing?
Well, James Harden is only making $36 million next year. No, I agree with you. It was every day this week, or I guess going back the last 2 weeks, we've been putting together a candidate for the Kings to trade for. It could be big, it could be small, but just some name. And he decided, with the unbeknownst to me, that, hey, the Clippers lost over the weekend. Let's see if we can get James Harden.
Right. So he ran out of guys, and then today it's like, I don't know. What am I going to do? Oh, I know. James Harden.
I think we're doing LaMelo Ball tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes. I made this point, which is, do you remember when James Harden went to China and told a bunch of Chinese children that Daryl Morey was a liar?
I do remember that. Yes.
Because Daryl Morey made him opt into a contract that he did. Something worse than that would have to happen for James Harden to ever suit up for the Sacramento Kings, because even though that happened, he still got to the place he wanted to go, which was Los Angeles. This would be not only opting into a contract he doesn't want, but then being traded to a place he doesn't want to go.
Kyle, one of the things I remember about that, I'll never forget it, because at the time I was doing a show here with Chris Watkins. And typically before the show, we do some silly little video to promote the show. And our video that day, it was Chris looking at the camera just going, Whitey Gleason is a liar. So I'll never forget that great James Harden press conference. Rough game 7 for Jimmy Harden. As far as the Kings and who they may trade for, I know that's all fun to talk about and think about, and maybe they will make some kind of big splash. But the more I think about it, the more I think that would be, going out and getting, especially an older player. You can bring in a younger player that fits everything you're doing. I'm not sure how you would do that, and the devil's in the details, but yeah, that makes sense. But going out and getting anybody else on your roster that's on the back 9 of their careers, I think that would be counterproductive, sir. I mean, you've got enough of that as it is.
Yeah, it's a tough conversation to have, because essentially they have this one chip of DeMar DeRozan right now, and they could package that for a big fish, whether that's your Ja Morant's, your Trae Young's, your Zion Williamson's. You package that with other pieces to go for that. Or there's a very real case where DeMar DeRozan goes to a team that closer fits his timeline, and the Kings take 70 cents on the dollar for what DeRozan is worth.
Mm-hmm. You said some today on the Alan Stiles show, and Jay's going to be with us. Jay's on his way. Kyle Ledbetter just keeping us on track until Jay arrives. You said something today, Kyle, that resonated with me because I've been thinking about it myself. You said maybe DeMar goes back to Toronto, just kind of, coasts off into the sunset. I don't know how happy he'd be about that from a competitive standpoint, but it does seem like kind of a, nice way to bookend his career.
It closer fits his timeline. If he only has 2 or 3 years left and he doesn't want to do the Russell Westbrook come off the bench and make a minimum contract thing, then it makes sense. Just go back to Toronto. They're not really competing right now. They could use
that's a thing that he probably would go, wait a minute. No, I want to try to win something.
That's the tough thing. We might do this tomorrow on the Alan Stiles show, and figure out what is the ideal situation for DeMar DeRozan right now. Personally, I would say it's the Detroit Pistons. You have a top 15 defense. They need a number 2 scoring option. They have cap space. That's a team that makes sense for DeMar DeRozan. Does he want to go there? I don't know.
If I'm Detroit, I'm not interested in that.
Even if it's only for Tobias Harris?
Yeah, like you said, defensively, what'd you say, top 15 defense?
Yeah.
I mean, DeMar DeRozan right now, it just doesn't help you defensively. And offensively, he is an efficient scorer. He doesn't turn the ball over, but he kind of disrupts everything else you're doing. Not because he's selfish or anything of that nature. That's just the way he plays. And if I'm having success bringing that in, it's harder for me to see DeMar right now as a guy who comes in and we need a scorer. Boom, put him in. We're set. No, because it's okay. You need a score, but you're also taking at least a step back defensively. And some of the things you've been doing offensively, you might have to reconfigure some of that too. So I think it's going to be hard to find a taker for him, as illustrious as his career has been.
Well, and what does he want at this stage of his career? Because we're not trying to run DeMar DeRozan out of town by any stretch. It's just the reality of he signed up for a team with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis and Mike Brown, and this is not the team he signed up for. So
it certainly isn't, is it? In fact, that's like, wow.
Yeah, and so it's understanding that maybe they accommodate, and in that scenario where the place that makes the most sense is Toronto. They're not trying to compete, but they could use a veteran, a scorer, a mentor along the Scotty Barnes of the world and the Grady Dicks. Can I interest you? Like, again, they could package him for a Ja Morant or a Zion Williamson or someone like that. Or there's a world where they just end up swapping him for RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
And RJ Barrett slides in as the number 3.
I don't know how and I think Scott Perry drafted RJ Barrett. I don't know how you feel,
correct.
But I am out on Ja coming to the Kings. It's nothing against Ja. I like the idea initially. It's like, yeah, swing for the fences. But we had Jerry Reynolds on last week. He said he just gets hurt so much. And, what goes up must come down. And he's been taking that pounding for years. The availability has been the thing. He also is a guy, he's not a great defender, and he doesn't shoot well. And he's an exciting player, and he does a lot of things. But the Kings just, at some point, you got to get somebody who can shoot and play defense. What a novel concept. Somebody who can shoot the ball and play defense. Wow. There are people out there. I don't know why the Kings don't seem to be able to bring him in here, with a few exceptions. But those are the type of players you need.
Or at least having the foresight to draft one of those players.
There's that as well.
Yeah, which that's how the Timberwolves become the Timberwolves, is you get Jaden McDaniels at pick 27.
Yeah.
That's the path, but it might be a little too late at this point, which my point on the Ja Morant thing is he would be a better number 1 option. I just don't know if they can be picky and choosy with their stars at this point. Yeah. I think it's like if one of them is available and you have the best offer, which I've reiterated to people, they won't have the best offer for Ja Morant.
Yeah.
But you could get one of them.
Take Ja, take Zion. They're both of them could be available. It's possible neither one of them is. And if you're the Kings, you look at that like, we need a guy like that. Wow. How about one of them? And it may come to that this summer. Maybe not, but it may. Here's the problem, though. The trick is, your team, you need a guy, so you're trying to get a guy from other teams that have decided he's not our guy, right? So that's very tricky. It's like, well, let's close our eyes and cross our fingers and hope that he is the guy for us.
But that's just the dumb situation the Kings have found themselves in by, in essence, trading for Zach LaVine's contract. Is you have to compete next season or flip Zach LaVine for one of the other 6 terrible contracts.
There's an example right there. Yeah. And so you have Scott Perry having said, there are no shortcuts at the last press conference. And I hope he has another one soon. I hope podcaster Perry has another press conference soon. And I love Scott Perry. I'm not making fun of him. But here's the thing. He's talked about consistently competitive, sustained winning. And he's also said, look, next year may be about establishing our identity. Very little, if anything, has been said since he's come back about next year. We're going to do this. We're going to win. We're going to compete, going to make the playoffs. That doesn't mean they're not thinking that, but he hasn't said it, which kind of stands out in contrast to recent GMs, because when they've come in the midst of this drought, as we know, they've said, oh, we're not going to be in the lottery anymore. He hasn't said that. Fair enough. Does that mean that next year the emphasis will be less on getting into the postseason and more on getting their house in order that'll put them on a track for sustained winning? I don't know, but I think that's one of the big questions right now.
It's a very interesting predicament. And I've mentioned this before. I'll mention it to you while we have the time together, which is next summer, their hand might get forced on the direction they have to go because, say DeRozan's still here. DeRozan would have an option on his contract. Keegan would be a restricted free agent. Keon Ellis would be an unrestricted free agent. Levine could theoretically opt out of $50 million if he so chose. And Sabonis would have 2 years left on his deal, which in the modern NBA, 2 years left on your deal is kind of the point where we got to get together and say, what are we doing here?
Time. We've only got 2 years left. Yeah.
Not necessarily like we got to trade or keep. It's like, what are we doing here?
I know. I'm with you.
That's the tough situation that they find themselves in, is their hand might get forced next summer where they have to tear that thing to the ground because all of the key pieces are going to be leaving, and Sabonis might say, I'm not going to sign another contract here. So that's kind of the tough navigation they're at. And that's, I think, why a lot of people who are in the camp of blow this thing up, which I think you and I are not, are saying, well, why don't we just fast track that process now? And I would say, I don't think you want that.
First things first. First thing I must do, I apologize, I hadn't noticed this, is turn Bobby Jackson's head around. Sorry about that, Bobby. Get Bobby Jackson's head on straight. There we go. And then when we come back, speaking of Kings, former Kings, Buddy Hield did what? I mean, you saw what he did last night, but he matched a record that is staggering, and we're back with that. Drive Guys next on Sacktown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead.
Get your Kings fix all season long right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
Full details and display.
Live and local, it's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
What Buddy Hield did last night, incredible, helping the Warriors over the Rockets, sending the Rockets home. Buddy Hield, according to Statitudes, is the second player ever to score 30 or more points on 80% shooting in a Game 7. Okay? I know there's a lot of numbers there, but it's impressive. Buddy Hield, second player ever to score 30 or more on 80% shooting in a Game 7 in the playoffs. The only other person to do that was Wilt Chamberlain in 1965, and Wilt wasn't shooting many threes in because they didn't have it. So it's just another one of those incredible footnotes on Buddy Hield's amazing night. Oh, yeah, it was Chamberlain-esque. Incredible. I had a feeling that they would need something like that. I didn't know he was going to play like that, but you looked at the fact that the Warriors historically have been very good at forcing other teams' bigs off the floor by making a lot of threes. And with only Jimmy and Steph doing anything offensively, and with Houston able to concentrate their defensive efforts on them, they needed somebody else to start making shots. You know, Draymond made a couple threes, and then when Buddy Hield got going, and Steven Adams had to come off the floor. So we'll see if the Warriors can continue to do that against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota has the rest advantage, certainly, with that series tipping off tomorrow. But I've had it with this. Carmichael Dave's my friend. Carmichael Dave I've known a long time, and he's carved out a really impressive career for himself, no question. But he's posted something either last night or yesterday about, Kings fans must feel like the basketball gods are trolling them because you had Marvin Bagley going 8 for 8, and then you got Tyrese with a big game, and Buddy Hield with a big game, and then someone chimes in, and don't forget Davion. And we just need to stop thinking that way, Kyle. That's all true, I realize, but it's not about Kings fans can't sit there and go, it's so hard to be a Kings fan. Those things happen. They were bad decisions. We have to move on at some point. We can't sit there and feel sorry for ourselves.
What I would do is laugh. Just laugh at it.
It's even better.
It's a great coping mechanism. Just laugh at how great that is. That's so funny.
Yeah.
That Buddy Hield walked into Jimmy Butler's press conference and yelled at him, I'm Robin, you're Alfred, your name is Butler, and they're on the same team. It's amazingly funny. And yes, all the former Kings are doing great things. Let's just laugh about it for what it is. Point out that Marvin Bagley went 8 for 8 and hit a 60-foot shot to cut the deficit from 51 to 48.
Right.
That's very funny. We should laugh about that.
If we're going to look at Marvin Bagley with a big game and going, oh, it's terrible. It didn't matter. It's nice that Marvin Bagley was able to do anything. But if we're going to look at that and go, oh, it's the basketball gods are trolling us, that means we're looking for reasons to feel sorry for ourselves. We're better than that, Kyle.
We
don't need to do that.
You're spot on, Whitey. If you're going to do it, don't feel sorry for yourself. That's what losers do.
Exactly right. These are opportunities to learn. And it's true. The Kings over the years have not done a great job of maximizing their assets. I mean, if you really wanted to be cynical, you could point out that Buddy Hield was what the Kings got for DeMarcus Cousins, right? He was a main piece. And when they made the trade for Sabonis, the Kings sent Halliburton and Buddy Hield for Sabonis. So they traded, in essence, you could say they traded Halliburton and DeMarcus Cousins for Domantas Sabonis. Oh, well, that probably was a mistake. Ha, ha, ha. Isn't that funny?
They traded their past and their future for the present.
Yeah, but Sabonis has been great. So, oh, well, what are you going to do other than learn and move on?
And laugh. Here, I'll do it for you right now. There's a chance that Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter are going to be out in addition to Darius Garland for Game 2, which means we should really start considering a world in which the Indiana Pacers beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round. If that happens, Tyrese Halliburton will have won the same number of playoff series as the Sacramento Kings organization since moving in 1985.
That's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
But we're not there yet either, see?
No.
That's kind of, that in a way, I would suggest that might be negative thinking because you're forecasting and saying, ooh, well, if that happens, we don't know if it's going to happen.
Well, it's negative based on your perspective. I happen to like Tyrese Halliburton.
I do too.
I think he is a joy and a fun basketball player. He might be his generation's Chris Paul.
Yeah. You know who else I like is Andrew Nembhard. He was 5 for 6 yesterday.
I have heard about
the 3-point line.
Fascination.
Yes. And somebody, was it Nate Jones? Kyle Draper was nice enough to send me somebody's post on X. I think it was Nate Jones. He said, Andrew Nembhard would be a great starting point guard on a team that had a high usage shooting guard. It's like, yes.
We've got 4 of those.
We have an abundance of those. I think he would be a great fit here. It's just hard to imagine why the Pacers would feel compelled to even have discussions around Nembhard unless, they want to keep Miles Turner and they'd have to save money. I don't know.
Have they already signed him to an extension?
Miles Turner and Nembhard? Nembhard, yes.
Okay.
But it's not a lot of money.
So then, yeah, they're in a good position. I would have only said if it's like restricted free agency, you're pushing up against the cap. But if he already has a contract extension, then
it's hard to imagine.
Maybe we go get TJ McConnell then.
Maybe.
Since Nembhard's the new TJ McConnell.
You know who else I would like is Ty Jerome, who started with Garland hurt. But I know that he's not a great defender, and he's probably going to make more money than the Kings can offer him.
I would imagine that's the case. Cleveland is such a fascinating team, and we don't have to dive into the weeds on it, but basically because Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year, he's now going to cost them like $12 million more against the cap, and that money is the difference between the first apron and the second apron. So Cleveland might have to make a difficult financial decision this summer for a team that, yes, is the number 1 seed, but as we just mentioned, also might lose to Indiana.
Yeah. Jared Williams here in the Chateau, and I believe we're talking about DeMar DeRozan here, says Detroit or Houston or Memphis would be good places for him to win now, especially if each of those teams miss out on KD or Giannis. But see, there to me, there's quite a drop-off. And I understand where you're coming from, Jared. That makes sense. But if you're Detroit, Houston, or Memphis, and if you were in on Giannis or KD, to me, that's like, we didn't get Giannis, didn't get KD. How about DeMar? I mean, there's a big, nothing against DeMar DeRozan, but we're talking about 4 or 5 plateaus lower, aren't we?
I would say yes. Maybe other people have a higher opinion of DeMar DeRozan.
Nothing against DeMar, but I mean, KD or Giannis? So I think he may be tough to trade if it comes to that. But if he says, I don't want to be here, then obviously you're going to have to accommodate him one way or another.
It's hard to find the spot. And I understand people having the conversation. He's the easiest to move. This wasn't the situation he signed up for. But I don't know the place, at the price tag he's making now.
Bert Bondi says, I've seen the Kings play the Grizzlies 3 times in the past couple seasons. Ja was hurt every single time. Send DeMar to Toronto and Levine to Orlando. I don't think they're both going. They could both stay. I don't think they're both going anywhere.
So then we would have RJ Barrett, KCP, and what? Jet Howard? I don't even know how that would work.
But more importantly, Kyle, we'd be building our identity.
Yes.
Right?
We would, but still keep Malik Monk. Honestly, like if people wanted to get in the weeds on it, Malik Monk is the perfect player for Orlando right now, but I don't think Sacramento wants to part with him.
Mm-hmm. They may have to. They have to part with something or someone if they're going to be a defensive-minded team, if they're going to have a defensive presence. And DeMar to Toronto, again, would that be somewhere he'd go, you know what? Yeah. Oh, I get wistful thinking about the North and my time there. I would guess DeMar would be saying, I want to go somewhere where I can win something before I'm done. But I'm just guessing.
That's the tough part of this game, right? Like, for example, remember last summer it was reportedly down to Miami and Sacramento were the 2 teams in on DeRozan, but Miami didn't have the price. Does Miami now say, because we don't have Jimmy, we'll flip DeRozan for Wiggins? I know Wiggins and Levine still have a very good relationship from when they played together in Minnesota. They were both the same rookie class.
I get the sense that the Kings right now, organizationally, they feel that they have a lot of equity in Zach LaVine. I'd be surprised if he goes anywhere.
I would agree, which is why, like we said, DeRozan is the one that makes the most sense to move. He didn't sign up for this. His contract is relatively affordable. It's just finding the team is not that easy, because I think if Miami flipped Wiggins for DeRozan, I don't know how close they are to competing in the East.
Yeah. Jared Williams, he clarifies. Thank you, Jared, for coming back with, he is way less tier. I'm saying if those teams don't want to trade everything they have for one of those guys, DeMar would be a good consideration, almost like a fallback for one of those teams that we need a scorer. Oh, we couldn't get Giannis or KD. Maybe DeMar would be kind of like a lower cost alternative. By the way, I know there was a lot of talk about Houston. There's been talk about what should they do? They should go get KD. I understand why you would consider that. I might consider, shoring up that team around the edges and then hoping that Jabari Smith and with the further development of Amen Thompson, that they might be able to fill that void rather than go out and getting a guy. That is a good young team that's coming around. I might consider giving them another year to kind of sort things out and see if anybody steps to the forefront.
I think their best plan would be see if you can upgrade at point guard from Fred VanVleet. Maybe that's a Ja Morant, maybe that's a LaMelo Ball, who knows? But see if you can upgrade, and if not, just bring back Fred, bring back Tari Eason, and see what they can do. If the right deal isn't there, don't do it. But I also get they are trying to go after Devin Booker, and I don't think Devin Booker is going to be available. So that's
I don't either. I mean, I would understand if it were, but I'm taking the Suns at face value. Like, he's the guy we're not trading. All right, I wouldn't trade him either if I were you.
I agree, but I think Houston kind of positioned themselves to make a run at Devin Booker, and if they don't get Devin Booker, they're kind of left without a seat at the table.
Bert Bondi, flipping DeMar with Miami is a good idea. Might be because supposedly Miami had interest in DeMar a year ago. So maybe there's something there.
Maybe. And like I said, Wiggins and Zach LaVine both were the 2014 rookie class with the Wolves. They played, I think, 2 or 3 years together. They still have apparently a pretty good relationship. So maybe that works. Although I think Kings fans going from the Zion Williamsons, Ja Morants to Andrew Wiggins is not going to be the reassurance that the team is going to be a playoff team that they maybe hoped.
To me, if we're being honest here and we look at the teams remaining in the West and we look at the Kings, they're so far from any of these teams left. And I know you could look at the Warriors and say, Kings played them really tough the first 2 games. You could look at Minnesota and say, they split with them. They were right there. But to me, the Kings need a new sense of direction. And if that is one that cost them being competitive next year, if it's sacrificing being competitive next year in order to establish some sort of identity going forward, I think I'd actually vote for that. Jay Johnson is joining us now. He's just getting situated. So Jay will be joining us here when we come right back here to Drive Guys. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. An original King, maybe Coach Christie's lead assistant. We're back with that. Jay is back. And Whitey, Drive Guys, Sactown Sports.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more. And then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is only a few weeks away with Bailey Zimmerman. Cole Wetzel. Plus Billy Currington, Nate Smith, Ernest, and more. Friday and Saturday, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo. Don't miss pop-up stores, food trucks, line dancing, and more. Country in the Park, celebrating 25 years, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Goldfield Trading Post, Java City, and Elemental Wine. Get tickets and more at CITPFest.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Memorial Day is the unofficial beginning of summer and a time to reflect on the blessings we enjoy living in this country. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. At Naturewood's Memorial Day sale, you choose the offer. It's like 2 sales in one. Take 10% off regular prices or get 24 months of no-interest financing with payments on approved credit. Then you can choose from living rooms, sofas, sectionals, dining rooms, bedrooms, home offices, and so much more. Whether you're looking to lighten the mood in your living room, brighten up your bedroom, or tighten up your home office, you can shop and save big on the best selection of quality furniture, including Sacramento's largest selection of furniture made in the USA. Shop the area's best selection of quality furniture at Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for that water wheel.
What would it take for a plumbing company to earn your trust? Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And let's face it, plumbing and service companies don't always have the best reputation.
So to earn your trust, the first thing they'd have to do is actually answer the phone when you call with a real live person. Then they'd have to send a plumber when you needed them, day or night, without charging extra for emergency services.
A trustworthy plumber would show up on time, wearing a clean uniform and name badge, and be able to show that they had passed a background check and drug test.
A plumber you could trust would give you a firm quote on the job before starting and clean up after they finish the job.
That's exactly the plumber you'll get when you call Bell Brothers. A plumber you can trust. Call Bell Brothers right now for all your plumbing needs. Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at theNoSurpriseGuys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
We're just sorting out where things are for the Kings. We got word over the weekend that it appears Mike Woodson, an original Sacramento King, may be Coach Christie's lead assistant. That's not a done deal. But one of the first things that I think of when I hear that news is that we had Mike Woodson on our show. Was it about a year ago, Jay, when we did the top 40 Kings?
Yeah.
You got him on, and it was a great interview.
Absolutely. So what does that mean? It's a good omen?
Yes.
Oh, I like where you're going, baby.
Good fit here.
I like where you're going.
Hope that happens. Why don't you get Mike Woodson? I think he's a defensive-minded coach. Get him to run the defense. Bring Alvin Gentry back to run the offense. And you got DC and the OGs. There you go. Then you got.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Then you got a staff, but I have no idea whether Alvin Gentry has any interest in that whatsoever.
Nah, he ain't, man. He chilling. I'm not gonna speak for him, but I'm just gonna give you my opinion, Whitey.
Yeah.
Man, Alvin got his he got his Crocs up on the seat.
Yeah.
And he just chilling.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Jay, I wanted to see what you thought of something that Kyle and I were talking about. And I understand it. And Carmichael Dave's our buddy, and he does a great job here, and he has for a long time. So this isn't so much about him. But I saw him on X. He posted something about how, Halliburton has a big game, and Buddy Hield has a big game, and Bagley had a big game. Davion's playing well. Oh, the basketball gods are trolling Kings fans. And I just feel like, Jay, it's like, that's just a loser negative mentality, and just don't go there. There's no reason to go there. It's almost like, oh, poor me, I'm a Kings fan, and we're better than that, Jay.
100%. You know what I'm going to say, Whitey? And you've been married for a very long time, which is fantastic. You can give me some game. You can lay some tennis shoes for people who's listening on how a marriage should operate and sustainability. But I'll say this, as someone that's younger than you and have had multiple, exes, so to say. That's like you going back, looking on social network, and you see your ex with somebody else, and just because they went on a trip to Bali, and they looking good, popping bottles, feeling great, son, got a Mai Tai in your hand, and you're supposed to be jealous of that? Get that stuff together, CD.
Yes.
Man, I'm not looking back at my exes.
Right.
Man, I'm up and winning right now.
Right.
The one that I'm currently with is better than my exes for a reason. Nah, that's definitely you say loser mentality.
Yeah.
I say sucker mentality.
Okay.
Absolutely. You're not supposed to be looking back at your exes wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
Cut bait.
Yes.
Cut bait,
Yes.
CD.
Come
That's
on.
not it, man.
By the way, speaking of
I'd be glad I didn't hear it. I'd have called in.
marriage advice, don't do what I did. I think it was last night, Jay. So we're watching, Sheena and I are watching. We had a nature show on. It was Tom Hanks narrating this show on NBC about how they made this great nature series. And so they got, long story short, I'll be as quick as I can. There's this eagle with a nest, this rare eagle in Amazon or somewhere. And across from it in another tree, you got the scientists, and they made this lift so they can set their cameras up and watch the eagle. So it's like incredible that they were able to do this. And they're up there in the storm and everything, and they've got the camera there, and they just got to wait patiently and watch. And the eagle has this little chick. So you see the little chick, and they're like, oh, they're getting these great shots. So then there's this terrible storm, and they're worried that the chick is going to drown from the rain, and the mother protects it. And then the storm, then they have to get down out of the tree because they're going to blow out into the wilderness. So then the storm clears, and they get the camera going again, and they see the chick. The chick is still there. Not only is the chick still there, but the father comes back with something for it to eat. And the poor thing's been without something to eat for weeks, I guess.
Starved out.
Yeah. So like, all right, here comes the father. So I turned to my wife, and I said, how much you want to bet when that father comes back, the mother's going to tell me he didn't get the right type.
Are you serious?
Yeah. How much you want to bet? That's what she said. You didn't get the right type. And she didn't even respond to me. She didn't even look at me. She got maybe like a wink, not like a wink, but just she blinked like, ugh. And then, so, you know, I was like, oh, maybe she didn't hear me.
Right. You doubled down?
I almost like, nope. Mission
Come on,
aborted.
man. You know, Mama Bear is always in her. It's inside of her. Come on, man. She's Mama Bear.
That bird comes back, and the mother said, you didn't get the right kind. And so
Why,
she
you
just, yeah.
Don't set yourself up. Yeah, don't set yourself up, brother.
I thought it might be funny. It wasn't. It didn't.
You've missed on a few jokes, I must say. As of late, you've missed on a few jokes.
Yeah.
With Mrs. Gleason.
I looked at, she just kind of barely like not even but blinked in my direction. Not even where it's just like, so don't do that.
Don't do that.
Luckily, the show was great, and I think it was mostly forgotten.
It saved you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was mostly forgotten.
No problem. It's all right. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Forgotten. Just like these bad trades the Kings have made. Forgotten. Move on. Deal with it. Look ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I get it. I understand. You're looking in retrospect at what's going on, but I'm not looking at something that I've already cut bait and moved on from.
Right.
That's what I'm not going to do. All you doing is making it worse on yourself. Oh, we cut Tyrese and we traded Buddy or that. Man, who gives a damn?
Oh, it's Miz. That's what it's like being a Kings fan.
And that's that Eeyore type mentality. Yeah. And see, that's the mentality right there that's going to bring the Kings kingdom down. We can't do that.
No.
Keep it pushing. Keep it rocking. Keep moving forward. But, have yourself fixed and focused on the next situation.
Mm-hmm. And maybe Mike Woodson will help with that. I say maybe, not because I doubt his abilities. We just don't know for sure if he's going to be here. He was 315 and 365 as a head coach in the NBA, 8 seasons in the NBA, 6 with Atlanta, and then 2 with the Knicks, where he worked with Scott Perry. 14 years of experience as an assistant coach, including in 2004 with the championship Detroit Pistons. And that's, I think, where he met Scott Perry, as well as 2020, 2021. They were both with the Knicks. So this looks like a Scott Perry, if not higher, then at least somebody's like, hey, Doug, how about this guy? At least this is it appears to be a connection coming through, and you would know more about this than I would, coming through Scott Perry.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, Mike Woodson's definitely got ties to Scott Perry. And, one of the things that people have been clamoring for around here is making sure that we have a top flight assistant coach that has done it before, has went through the corals of a season throughout the NBA. And absolutely, it's just one of those situations where you have a veteran, someone who's played in the league, someone who's coached in the league, someone that's been a part of college, someone that's in the know when it comes to basketball, because we also understand this, Whitey, and we've talked about this a few times. You got the NIL and those athletes crossing over now into the NBA. There were draft workouts today. Just saw someone at you just seen some of these young guys coming to the table, and they sound a little different. They move a little different now.
Yeah.
And so you kind of need somebody that is tied to what's going on with the college game, knows the NBA game, knows the speed of the game, and also is someone who's done it. So it's a good move. If they if they want to go towards Mike Woodson, he wouldn't be the only candidate that I could say would be a good move, but he's done it a lot.
Yeah, and it would be great. I think we can all agree, just in theory, if you have Doug, who did a fine job last year but hasn't done a long, if you have somebody next to him who has done it for a long time, that's a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. But I can't go wrong with it.
I know what you mean about some of the guys working out today. I wasn't out there, but it's different now because you've got guys going out there. And of course, for the Kings right now, it looks like you'd be a second-round pick. They don't currently have a first-round pick, which could change, but probably won't. And so it's like, I'm going to go out there, work out for some teams. But if I don't like the way things are going, I'll just go back to school and make a lot of money.
Yeah,
and that
pretty much.
That didn't used to be an option.
No, it didn't. And you have to have that type of, one of the things I think NBA teams, and I'm pretty sure there are some teams now, you need to have a liaison. You're going to, just like we're seeing these colleges line up general managers, which we had never heard of before. Right. You see general managers, you see Wes Wilcox go be a general manager. Utah, you just saw Woj, right? St. Bonaventure, right? St. Bonaventure, I believe, is where he went, his alma mater. And I could be wrong, but I believe
I think that's it.
Yeah. You see guys like that. Look, we just heard it here last week. Shaq being an honorary general manager here at Sac State. And I say honorary in the fact that he's not going to get paid, but he's going to hold the position and work in that position. I think the NBA is going to need a liaison or two of how things work from college kids moving up to the NBA. Because now It's just a free-for-all.
Mm-hmm.
And until college figures out how they're going to, manipulate the system or structure this system, I think the NBA is going to deal with some of those ramifications with some of these guys coming up. And we saw a little bit of it in the draft with Shedeur.
Yep.
No doubt about it. So I think you got to start to have some of these liaisons in place that's going to allow some of these teams throughout the league to deal with some of these multi-million-dollar stars already.
So if you want to look back on things that Kings did and probably shouldn't have done and feel terrible about it, go ahead if you want. I don't know why you would. We're trying to look ahead to what the Kings need to do and could do this offseason and beyond. Mark asks, Whitey, can the Kings bring back Jack Cooley, who played 7 games in the 2017-18 season? I don't think they want to do that, Mark. Jack Cooley, I believe, ended up playing for the Kings team in Okinawa, whose arena I visited couple of years ago when we went to Okinawa. So, he's still playing somewhere, I think. G-Money 01, I would like more draft picks. DeMar and money for Orlando's 16th pick and a player. I don't know if Orlando's going to be in a hurry to do that, G-Money. It depends, like we've been saying. Jay, it depends on how other teams look at DeMar. There may be some teams that say, we need a scorer. There you go. He's the guy that's going to put us over the top. If that's the case, then you might get something for him. I'm just not so sure that's the way teams are seeing him right now at this advanced point of his career, despite his big numbers he put up last year.
I will say there's a team that needed a closer this past weekend. And that'd be the Houston Rockets.
Woo!
They need to be looking into people like DeMar DeRozan. They need to be looking into people like Kevin Durant. And I know it's short-sighted in the form of these guys aren't going to play 4, 5, 6 years down the road, allegedly. Now, they could. But if they believe they can compete, finish second in the West, and you need 1 or 2 guys to come in and close, to me, those are the type of teams that need to be picking up the phone and talking about DeMar DeRozan. I think there is a value set to who DeMar is, and you've matriculated that quite well in the form of everybody's probably not looking for DeMar. But I'll be honest, I think there's a few more teams looking for DeMar than I think we realize too.
Yeah. By the way, is Drapes not here today because he's on vacation or because the Warriors won last night?
I would say vacation probably, but yeah, who knows?
50-50?
Yeah.
40-60?
I will say this. He was disgusted, and I wasn't too far behind him. And the fact of you sending the Warriors chanting everything towards us in our text thread.
Having some fun.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I'm just having some fun.
Nothing wrong with that. I thought it was Monte at first. I looked down. Oh, that's Whitey.
Hey, first place up for grabs this week at Sutter Health Park. It's a big baseball week in Sacramento. We're back with that and more on Sacktown Sports.
Stay up to date on Sacramento sports. Join the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit sacktownsports.com.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health, and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers too. Consultation's free, and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
The hot weather is coming. Is your HVAC system ready for it? Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating make sure it is. Get to Lee'sAirPlumbingandHeating.com. Check out their $99 HVAC tune-up special. And let me tell you why Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating is the way to go. They took care of me when our heater collapsed over the winter, and Lee's set us up with a great new HVAC system that is providing comfort, value, and quality. Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating take care of you. License number 635355.
Louis C.K. in an all-new show, Ridiculous 2025 Tour.
When I was younger, you had to go in the bank. Remember that? You had to go inside the bank. Now you look in the bank, you're like, what are those people doing in there? Are they cleaning? The money's out here.
Friday and Saturday, June 13th and 14th, 8 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Louis C.K. live on stage.
At SMUD, we power local business with incentives on clean energy equipment, tools to manage electricity usage and save money, tailored solutions from dedicated strategic account advisors, and 50% lower rates than neighboring utilities, all while doing more for the planet with clean energy solutions, savings, reliability, personalized service, clean energy, helping local businesses thrive. That's our clean power promise. Learn more at smud.org.
Switch to Comcast Business Mobile and save hundreds a year on your wireless bill. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Restrictions apply. Comcast Business Internet required. Compares 2 unlimited intro lines and lowest price 5G plans of top 3 carriers. Taxes and fees extra. Reduced speed after 30 gigabytes of usage. Data thresholds may vary.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-837-5050. That's 800-837-5050. 800-837-5050.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Big baseball week in Sacramento. Before we get to that here, it's Drive Guys. It's Jay and Whitey. Just want to take a peek at what we have coming up tonight in the NBA playoffs. Playoffs have been fascinating. We've got, of course, the Knicks and the Celtics tonight. They open their series. We got to pull for the Knicks. The Celtics, I've just historically, for what it's worth, me personally, have never been a Celtics fan. And I know he's Drape's guy, and I don't know him personally, Jason Tatum. I'm sure he's a wonderful guy and a great father. I can't stand the thing now where he makes a basket and grabs his wrist, Jay. Like, oh, I hurt my wrist, but I made a basket. My goodness. Just, he has his little thing he used to do where he kisses his fingers 3. That's fine, but now it's got to be, ha, I hurt my wrist, but I just made a basket. Come on, let's go Knicks. The Knicks are going to get rolled, but I'm going to root for them anyway. And then also tonight, we've got game 1, Denver at OKC. OKC is the weirdest team because they're a heavy favorite, but they just seem more like underdogs because they're so young and they're hard to dislike to me, Jay. They stick out for each other. Shea is like phenomenal. It's a hard team to root against. And I thought in this series I'd be pulling for Denver. But there's something about the whole thing with Coach Malone dismissing him. And, they say, look, it's proof that work. We beat the Clippers. But I think I'm rooting for OKC. That's a team that is hard to dislike for me.
Yeah, I'm with both of you. I'm on both of your picks. I'm definitely rooting for OKC. I'm rooting for OKC to win it all, win the whole thing, please, and blow through everybody at the same time. Right. I don't even need to be close.
Yeah,
just smack everybody upside their earlobes.
Just smoke their marshmallows.
Yeah, absolutely. The Celtics, Knicks, it doesn't really matter. But I'd rather root for the Knicks than the Celtics. So I'm with you. The Knicks ain't won nothing. They've been been struggling for many moons, many years.
And it's so weird because they're the freaking Knicks, It's also true of the New York football teams. You'd think, like the Yankees, I know they haven't, as Frankie will tell you, they haven't won anything in a while, but they're winners. They still win. The Mets have got all that money, but the Knicks, they haven't won a championship since 1973. That's incredible. It's New York. You'd think a lot of the best players would want to go there. And certainly they have the capital to put together a good team, but they can't do it, Jay.
Yeah, it's something they haven't been able to figure out, and that's a tough situation for them. But I'd rather see them win over the Celtics. The Celtics got their one as of late, not their one, but as of late. Move on. Shouts out to Tatum and all them guys. Exercising the demons. I wish they would have never gotten one because I'm just a hater. I don't really like the Celtics. But now that they've gotten theirs, I'd rather see the Knicks move on. But I'm definitely rooting for OKC. The Denver got theirs. Not the hugest fan of Jokic. I like MPJ. Some of the guys over that way. I always root for Russell Westbrook just because it feels like so many people are against him. And he ain't done nothing to nobody, man. Russ is just he is Russ. Russ plays hard. His attitude comes off as, sometimes not as pleasant for people, but I'd rather you play hard. The one thing you can't do is questioning how hard he plays.
I agree.
And his heart, and so I'd rather see OKC win it though.
What'd you think of Russ hanging on the rim to get a technical just to prove his point?
Love it.
Mhm.
Love it. Shots out.
Mhm.
I'm all for guys proving a point in sports. I'm not the sportsmanship type of guy. Yeah.
You don't want to see Russ go, hey,
Nah.
Jimmy Harden,
I'm
put it
good.
there, pal. We're
Yeah,
still friends.
I'm good on that. Sports is a competition. Even when I was a kid, and this just explains how much I want to win, I hated even shaking people's hands. I don't need to shake your hand. Especially, this is the other thing too. I don't need to shake your hand when I'm going to play you again down the road within the season.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was a good game, it was a game today doesn't mean I got to fist bump you. Now, I'm cool. That's just me. It is what it is. I'll take all sportsmanship conversations and ribbon participation ribbon folks who want to call in 916-339-1140.
Well, that's two things, though. Two different things.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, though.
Yeah. Participation is like, oh, honey, you played. Good for you.
Yeah, but that's sportsmanship.
Shaking hand. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sportsmanship is like we played, we competed. Hey, you did your best. I did my best. Let's shake hands.
Well, here how it crosses over for me is this. Participation ribbon is a sportsmanship act in the form of, if we were just based off of competition, you wouldn't have got jack blank, right? And so just because that's the fact of it is, just because you came out here and participated doesn't mean that I got to dap you up and say, great game. To me, that's some of the sportsmanship too.
To me, the difference between the two is the participation ribbon is like, it doesn't matter what the score was, because who wins, who loses, that's not really what matters. Shaking hands is like, yeah, we tried to beat each other's brains in, but we're done now. So I respect you as an opponent. That to me,
different. I'd rather go up to the people I respect. I'd rather say, hey, shouts out to you guys rather than have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying is, and no one says you have to do it, but it's an unwritten rule. It's one of those things where you play the game and then you got to dap up everybody. I can still respect you. Absolutely. I respect you for coming out here and doing your thing. No doubt. I can say that. There's a difference. Like, I'm not just going out there saying, oh, man, I've taken L's for sure throughout my life. I ain't won that much. So it ain't for me to come out here and be like, oh, you know what? I win everything. No, that's not what I'm saying. All love. I could throw a peace sign up to you. All love to y'all. Appreciate y'all coming out. Super respect.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? I don't have to do all the hugging and the kissing and all like. I'm cool with that.
That's sportsmanship. I don't know about the hugging and the kissing.
There's too much of that going on, though, isn't it?
I don't know.
What you mean? You watch an NBA game, people out here, they got handshakes with an opponent.
Then they're trading jerseys.
Right. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, the trading jersey is respect, I think. Right. See, that's respect versus we got to shake your hand. Put it this way. And good well. If a game happens tonight and someone doesn't dap someone up, more times than not, we're hearing about it. It's a thing. It's on social network. Player A didn't dap up the other guys. Oh, he's not exemplifying good sportsmanship. He must be in his feelings.
Are you telling me that you are pro Detroit Pistons
Absolutely.
losing to the really?
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
Wow. I'm not.
Because first of all, I ain't got to bow down to Jordan.
Yeah, but when someone beats you, you gotta
show him love.
Knowledge.
Yeah. Show him love. But this is the thing. I don't necessarily need you to do it right then and there for me to say, oh, you disrespect that person.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part about it is Whitey, we don't know what them people that went through. We don't know the backstory between the Pistons and the Bulls and Jordan and Pippen and guys like that. What if someone, we're sitting there talking about exes and we're talking about Carmichael Dave crying over Tyrese Halliburton and stuff. What happened if something personally happened between those two people?
Well, I don't know, but I think we know in that case the Pistons were clearly trying to disrespect the Bulls. But we also have this, Jay.
Yep.
Now this is from the 530. Now at young girls softball games, the winning team is forming a tunnel for the losing team to run through. Very annoying.
Shouts out to
says 530.
Right. But participation.
If they're having fun, Just have fun.
That's different.
Play hard and have fun.
That's different.
That's right.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Have
players and my daughters.
Yes.
Play hard and have fun.
Absolutely.
That's what you do.
That has nothing to do with me having to have to shake your hand.
That's true.
Yeah.
I suppose. By the way, first place up for grabs this week at Sutter Health Park. The A's won another series, so they host the first place Mariners for 3 starting tonight. So if the A's, they're 2 games behind the Mariners. I know there's a lot of numbers. If they were to sweep the Mariners tonight, Tuesday, Wednesday, they'd be in first place. But then after that, I think they have Thursday off. Then the Yankees are coming to Sacramento, Jay. This is a huge week. The A's playing the Mariners. First place could be on the line. And then the Yankees are coming in next weekend. The New York Yankees are coming to Sacramento. Incredible.
Sure.
You don't think that's a significant deal? Aaron Judge and the Yankees are playing games in Sacramento?
Well,
I think that's amazing.
I'm probably not the best person to ask about that right now because my feelings are hurt in the form of I'm still trying to figure out, and feelings not hurt, but I guess I'm confused in the form of how do you go root and showcase love to an ownership group that is, we've talked about it 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if we're just looking at it from the standpoint of the Yankees coming to Sacramento, yeah, great feat. We'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just simplify it. No need to go down the process anymore. The Yankees to come play in Sacramento against a team that doesn't utilize a name, then cool, no problem.
The West Sacramento A's of Las Vegas, or vice versa.
Absolutely.
I will say this. I know a lot of people have looked at the attendance and said, well, Sacramento's never getting a team. And maybe not. I think the odds were against us anyway. But I think more important than the attendance would be if somebody in town, and I don't know who, but if anybody, one of the casinos or anybody were to say, you know what, we think this could work. We have a stadium plan. If Sacramento had a stadium plan and for the ownership of the A's, if they looked at it and said, whoa, we like that, that would go a long ways towards, and it was a solid plan, that would go a long ways towards making up for the fact that you only had 7,000 fans to watch the Rangers.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you saying if they're the big money people based in Sacramento, if there was a plan that was laid out to John Fisher, to the Oakland A's, that may go into MLB, that may go a longer way in trying to convince MLB, the owners, and John Fisher. This may be somewhere that you can be, or setting up for the futures, even though if this team does leave, we're still set up for the future.
Well, yes, I do think that, because I think we tend to focus too much on they don't have enough fans at the game. They'll never get a team. I don't think that's as important as the other stuff. And let's face it, what's going on in Vegas with the so much uncertainty around the economy, which is always true to a degree, but right now it's crazy and the costs are rising. Fisher has not been able to find the backing that he's been hoping to find there.
Oh, absolutely.
Las Vegas right now looks like maybe. I mean, it looks less likely than it has in a while, and it's always been kind of a roll of the dice.
Right. No, so, I 100% with you. I think there is we've seen it, and I think that's why you see like the Nashvilles, the Portlands, some of these cities that have kind of put a plan together, tend to have some financial backing, tend to have an arena / stadium or something, a place where some of these pro organizations can move on and go play. Those are the ones, those are the cities, the host cities that are getting moved up. And I think that's why, like, when you look at the MLS and all those things that happen with Sacramento continue to happen with Sacramento, I've always said, it needs to play out vice versa. Not so much as, they're coming and then we're ready to build. You almost kind of have to, like you said, be building and then they'll come. Unfortunately, that's just the way the game is going right now.
I know there was a piece in the Chronicle, I think over the weekend, Scott Ostler once again suggesting, Oakland could still be back in play at some point.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back from punchline to Prince, a look at how Buddy Hield ran himself out of this town next on Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger, Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Father's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for dads and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Live and local, it's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
We were just talking about sportsmanship and shaking hands, and Jay says it's not really for him. Skip Bishop says there's absolutely nothing wrong with Jay's take. There also isn't anything wrong with taking the opposite approach.
True.
I definitely agree with that part. Some of these dudes act like they're making vacation plans after the game. That's over the top for me, says Skip Bishop.
Yeah, shouts out to Skip. And now that's kind of what I'm saying is to answer your question one more time, Whitey, you know when there's mutual respect, you know when somebody's going all out and doing their thing and they beat you. There's nothing with that. I'm not holding because you beat me against you as an athlete, because I'd rather be competing against the best anyway, or people that want to be out there. But there is a limit to where it's like I'm required to do it. There is a requirement. And one thing we've always taught in our sports, especially from youth sports, is you have to conduct yourself and show sportsmanship. And how many times have we seen pros, college kids get bombarded because, well, they didn't shake their hand, and now you're getting chastised because you just so happen to walk into the locker room. Like, no, sometimes, and this is what I say about media when it comes to after game press conferences. The toughest part is if you're in media and you've never been on the other side of it, if you've never had to answer questions instead of ask questions, to me, that's where I lose respect sometimes, even if it's on a smaller level, is because you're asking some of these tough questions. And sometimes you don't want to have to necessarily answer those things because they can get you in trouble, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm with Skip.
Yep.
Shouts out.
Skip's a good guy to be with.
Absolutely.
From the 916, talking about Sacramento, MLB expansion teams. Portland has plans for an MLB stadium financed by a jock tax. Would that work for Sacramento? It's a great question. I don't know. Basically, my understanding is the people that came in to play in the stadium in Portland, rich athletes that came in, they would actually be taxed, and that would pay for the stadium.
Yeah.
That's why they're calling it a jock tax. And it's a plan that I believe it's in the preliminary stages, but it's been approved. So they have something to base potential financing on. Would it work here? I don't know. I'm sure, I would think it's different with California law. It's a great question. I will look into that.
Yeah, and there's so many different forms of fashions of taxes that cities and states put on athletes and us taxpayers, people like us, to try to finance this. We know, there was a parking tax here in Sacramento.
They paid for this with different ways.
Yeah, for sure. And so it just depends on if that city ordinances, all these different avenues that you can approach as a city and as a state. If it operates, I'm all for whatever's going to bring the A's here to Sacramento. I'll be the first one. I'm already paying taxes. Might as well keep paying a little more anyway. So it just depends, especially if it's part of your entertainment.
I don't know if you've seen the mock-ups of what it would look like in Portland, the ballpark.
I haven't.
Beautiful. It's right on the water.
Really?
It's really pretty. And mock-ups should be beautiful.
Absolutely.
That said, the one in Vegas to me looks like that don't
look believable.
That looks like somebody who doesn't know anything about baseball made up a stadium that they're going to have in some baseball movie for people that don't know anything about baseball.
True.
It's just kind of what? How does that work?
Right. Well, as you said, renderings are supposed to look futuristic.
They should be like, oh, that's great. They shouldn't be like, huh?
Yeah, agreed. Especially when you look at it, and that just kind of shows that the planning wasn't all there, Whitey. AC from here and AC from there. It's like, you kind of got to go over to Europe to find AC, ground that comes from AC that comes up from the ground, and some of those pitches that they have over that way. It's doable.
Really?
Yeah.
AC from the ground?
Yeah, you've never heard of some of these things?
I guess I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, they definitely have some, some of these places, let's just say like Saudi Arabia, where they play soccer, right? Football. They have some unique ways to get that AC in there. And so that's what you read into what the A's are really saying they're going to do. And that it makes you look, the face that you made is like puzzled. Yeah, I don't know if that's really going to work over here because it hasn't been done quite a bit over here. And so like a glass bubble looks like the Jetsons. It's like, where have you done that? You only see that type of stuff in Abu Dhabi and things like that.
Yeah. So John Fisher is looking for, how much is it that he's looking for?
Still looking for $750 million.
Yeah. And so he's found some funding, but he still would be on the hook personally, he and his family, for a large portion. And there's so much uncertainty surrounding the whole project. Who's actually coming to the games? What about cost overruns? All that stuff. A lot of people look at that and they're very skeptical that he will go, yeah, it'll work out. I'll do it. That hasn't been his MO. It's been, if he isn't getting just a great deal for him, he's not going to go forward with it. So there's so much more uncertainty now surrounding the whole Vegas project. It's an interesting time in this whole A's relocation saga.
Yeah, well, we know, Whitey, when you have to spend your own money, things get a little tricky, right?
Yeah.
We tend to spend our own money on things that we want.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that John Fisher doesn't want the A's. It's just his actions have showed that he treats the A's as if he doesn't want them. And so I would have to see it to believe it in the form that you're going to pull out probably close to $1 billion of your own family's money. And we've heard, the bank has come out and say, oh, well, we'll help them. We've heard other family members say, oh, yeah, we'll finance the situation.
But bottom line, he's on the hook.
A lot of smoke being
for a large portion.
Yeah, absolutely. And
with a lot of variables.
The only money that we've seen is state giving money. We haven't seen city giving money yet because remember, the teachers are fighting and saying, look, you're not going to give up that $250-300 million that the city of Las Vegas would have to give up unless you're going to bless us here. So that's been definitely a drawback. And then the other part about it is I just don't know if people believe it because we haven't seen it. John Fisher is, unless they have some money tucked away or, they're really going to utilize their own family money.
I really want to know. Maybe Drapes can shed some light on this when he joins us again tomorrow, how people in Vegas are feeling about it, if they're feeling at all. I know you hear a lot that, they don't really care. And then you also find a pocket of, real diehard fans that are like, yeah, we can't wait to get this team. By and large, I get the sense that people are kind of, they don't really care whether they get the A's or not. They're not excited about it. I'm not sure that's true, but that's definitely the sense I get.
Look, everyone,
their hockey team.
Personally, every person that I've personally spoken to, and that goes from media to celebrity to everyday person, I've yet to come across a person who was like, we want the A's. That's just my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, you get on social network and you see people who are for the city and they know there's bigger things. And, you see some politicians here and there. Of course, you see some media, because who wouldn't want to cover the A's?
Yeah.
Right. Coming that way. But for the most part, I think the bigger group seems to be leave the A's dear, give us our own expansion team. And I always go back to the story last year in Uber, going somewhere, me and my wife, a couple of my partners, and I remember asking the Uber guy, he had Las Vegas Knights stuff everywhere, in the Yukon that he had. And I was like, man, you must be a big Knights fan, huh? He's like, absolutely love them. Born and raised in Las Vegas. This is our team.
Mm-hmm.
This started here. This is going to finish here. I'm all for it. I'm knifed out. My son, I take him all the games and everything else. Oh, how about the Raiders? He's like,
that's funny.
We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I said, well, how do the Raiders games go? He's like, they do well. And he's like, but most of the time when I pick up everybody, they're out of towners.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody local. I'm not picking anybody up from, South Las Vegas sliding over to, or Henderson.
Baseball, you can't rely on out of towners.
There you go.
For 81 games,
right?
Home games.
And so he moves on and says, yeah, I don't really go to Henderson and grab people to, Pahrump and grab people to take the Raiders. It's normally from the Strip. Mm-hmm. People from the airport coming in, I take them over. Whoa, where you come from? Oh, I came from Buffalo. Those type of things. I said, what about the A's? He's like, y'all could keep them. Absolutely keep them. Oh. And I said, what about the Aces? Oh, love them. Absolutely love them.
Aces?
Yes. Because it's one of theirs. Mm-hmm. Started there, and I said, well, how long you been in sport? All my life, man. Played this. So I just say that's only one. That's very small sample size. But when you have the conversations in the casinos, the bartenders, the people, they don't tend to want the A's. That's just been the theme I've been getting,
Tell you, I think a really interesting story about that when we come back, involving when the Giants came to San Francisco, and we'll look at how Buddy Hield went from Punchline to Prince. Why did he ever end up leaving Sacramento in the first place? That more next with the Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
The Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter right to your email. Get your latest on the Sacramento Kings, athletics, and Republic FC with the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit sacktownsports.com to join.
The hot weather is coming. Is your HVAC system ready for it? But Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating makes sure it is. You get that heat miser out there, 100-degree temperatures. You can laugh like LAPH. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. Ha, ha, ha. I laugh at you, heat miser. Go to leesairplumbingandheating.com. Check out their $99 HVAC tune-up special. Why choose Lee's? They offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. They get 4.8 stars on Google, so a lot of friends recommend them. They've won awards for their service, and they've spent more than, let's see, what year is it now? 40 years, more than 40 years, serving the Valley's HVAC heating and plumbing needs. You can trust Lee's with installation and repair of your AC, furnace, and water heater, plus residential and commercial plumbing repair, commercial HVAC services too. You can find out more at leesair.com. Check out their mission statement. It's all about serving customers and community. And as I said, check on their $99 HVAC tune-up service. Lee's took care of us, and they will take care of you. Make sure your system's ready for the heat so you can laugh at the heat miser. Check out Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating, license number 635355.
It's Carmichael Dave talking to you about my good friends at American Energy. You're in the Sacramento area. You know how the seasons work. They are a-changing right now. So American Energy wants to help you stay warm for the rest of the cold season, but help you stay cool during the warm season. Best way to do that, make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of half off a tune-up, $24.50. They cut that right in half, and if you want a diagnostic, guess what? You can't beat free. If it's free, it's me, and now it can be you. And also, it's the end of the season blowout. $4,000 off a new system plus any rebates. That $4,000, that's a direct drop from the sticker price. It's a great deal. Check them out at the aeway.com or an instant quote, or give them a call at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Have you ever dreamed of shopping for the perfect jewelry from home? Well, now it's possible, and you can even build your credit. PrestigiOJewelers.com now offers online shopping, making us the premium credit jeweler nationwide. With an exceptional selection of fine jewelry, from engagement rings and gold chains to sparkling diamond earrings and much more. With over 30 years of experience, Prestigio guarantees you'll find exactly what you're looking for. It's fast and easy. Once approved, you'll receive a guaranteed credit line from $400 to $10,000. All you need is to be 18 years or older, have a valid form of ID, be employed for a minimum of 6 months, and a bank account for automatic payments. PrestigiOJewelers.com is the perfect way to establish or reestablish your credit, with interest rates at only 2.25% per month. We are here to help you with monthly reporting to all major credit bureaus. The perfect jewelry, the perfect price, helping you build perfect credit. Visit us online at PrestigiOJewelers.com or at one of our locations in Sacramento, Stockton, Merced, and Fresno. Enter code SACTOWNSPORTS at checkout to save 10%.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Well, I hope you will join me in wishing a belated happy birthday to Jay Johnson.
Oh, thank you, my brother.
Jay's got some, my understanding is, according to my sources, he's got something big planned, a trip that his wife set up for him, that he's got that still to come, but hopefully he had a great birthday weekend.
Yeah, I did, man. Enjoyed it. Just got to relax, watch boxing, which wasn't so great. Yeah, just let me down. Of course, the hoop game.
Derby? You watched the Derby?
Of course. You know, we all felt well after the Derby there, Mr. Gleason. I'll leave it at that.
Luxor Cafe, I think, might still be running. So Luxor Cafe didn't.
Your pick let me down on something, but
remember, Ken Rudolph also said, "Oh yeah, it's a good horse."
Yeah, he did. That's why you don't listen to experts all the time. Sometimes you got to think for yourself. But yeah, Sovereignty did well, and I felt well, and so I chose Sovereignty on a few other things, and that was a good move. So hey, shouts out. But I enjoyed the weekend. Shouts out to my wife, man, my daughter. Love y'all. You know, all love. Thank you for the blessings as well. The wishes from you as well too, man.
Buddy Hield had a good weekend as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and so did Tyrese Halliburton. You know what? I was thinking about this, Jay, and I don't mean to lapse into that whole, woe is me as a Kings fan, but it is true. In a way, Buddy Hield is what the Kings got. That was a big piece back for DeMarcus, right?
True.
Buddy Hield. So in a way, you could say the Kings traded DeMarcus Cousins and Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis, because they didn't just trade Halliburton to get Sabonis, they traded Buddy Hield too. But I know, by that time he had fallen out of favor here. What happened? What is your recollection? Where did things go wrong between the Kings and Buddy Hield? I remember some of it. I wasn't actually covering the team through that whole period.
Right.
I've done some research, and I know that he was unhappy. Then he got the extension, but even that didn't really seem to smooth things over, and it just seemed like he wasn't happy here.
Yeah, I don't know personally, so I can't speak on it. And as you said, the Buddy situation was a little different. I use that. It was a little different. From what I do know is he wanted more than what he was given when it comes to the contract. I'm not sure if that played out as far as, the future, would be the past now, but the future that laid the foundation for him to exit here in Sacramento. I'm not really 100% sure, because Buddy's tenure was a little,
up and down.
Yeah, it was.
Uneven.
Yeah, very much so uneven. Yeah. It was like old Sac. The cobblestone road.
Yes. What you said, that's what I read today, where he was due for an extension, and the Kings made an offer, and he didn't like the offer, but instead of negotiating with them, he went public. My understanding is a lot of people around the league said, ooh, you don't want to do that. There's no winners there. So they offered him 90 as an extension, and he came out publicly, and he was always very forthcoming with the media.
Oh, no doubt.
And he's like, I'm insulted by that offer. And apparently a lot of people in the league looked at it and said, that's not, the team doesn't typically bring their best offer. So you negotiate with them, but then you go public with that, and it doesn't help anybody. So it sounds like, ultimately they signed him for not a lot more than that. And maybe he just felt like he signed it, but he never really felt like happy with it. So he was always kind of like, they screwed me.
Yeah, it was the 4 for 94, which was what we got reported. We knew with the bonuses and everything, it could reach 106.
And initially he said they offered me 90, which is an insult.
Yeah. From my understanding, the base of it was at 86 million. I do remember those numbers, even though it was reported in 94 with the bonuses being of 106, 4-year term. I'm not, I think Buddy was looking more towards, and this was being reported at the time, around 120, 130. He was kind of looking for that type of deal. Didn't get it. Buddy was one of those guys that was very hit and miss with Sacramento Kings fans. You had some people who absolutely love Buddy. Then you had some people who had a love-hate relationship with Buddy.
He just seemed very resentful.
Yeah.
He stayed, but he was like, I'll stay, but I'm not really happy. And that obviously doesn't go anywhere.
Sure.
Incredible shooter as
well.
Oh,
no doubt about it. No doubt.
Yesterday, as he went 12 for 15, 9 for 11 on threes with 33 points. And without him, the Warriors are probably home now.
For sure. Oh yeah. There were some guys that they should be walking over to Buddy and dapping them up. Buddy did his thing. The one thing I have to give Buddy credit for is throughout his time here in Sacramento, and please, if I'm wrong, someone can correct me. I don't really remember a time where Buddy was unpleasant with the media. Didn't really point fingers at a lot of people. As you said, we knew he wasn't happy with certain things, probably, maybe not making him one of the guys here in Sacramento. I think there was an opportunity for Buddy to come over here and be one of the guys. We've heard that he was one of Vivek's favorite guys, especially in that draft coming out.
Vivek thought he was the next Steph Curry.
Yeah,
he could certainly shoot.
He definitely can. He can shoot. I don't know if it's Steph Curry. If he's Steph Curry, it might be Steph Curry-ish or like or something. I don't know what you want to what you want to put on the back end of that, but I will say he always came out to play. Like he didn't soak in the form of being hurt and things like that. So you got to give him his respect, even if you didn't like him. He didn't always produce at a high level. And I think that's why you see a lot of Kings fans have the love-hate relationship a la Harrison Barnes.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's a piece from October 2020 by Sean Devaney. And I'm not trying to bury Buddy Hield here. This is a great moment for him. I'm just trying to figure out, where did things go wrong for him here? The story in Forbes, the headline is Seeking Trade from Sacramento Kings. Buddy Hield is his own worst enemy. So this is before he actually got traded. Hield has flaws on the floor and off. Those flaws got more obvious last season. Overly emotional off the floor, handled adversity poorly in the locker room while on the floor, failed to adjust to added defensive attention that comes with being an offensive focal point. Also remained a very bad defensive player. That weakness forced Coach Luke Walton to hold him out of important crunch time moments and eventually to move him to the bench. So that's just part of that. Maybe he was not as good as he thought he was. And now he's kind of, he's had some rough times. He got traded. He was with Sixers. First he was with Indiana, then the Sixers. And now, he's not making nearly the money that he was before. And he's kind of carving out a newer role where the expectations are lower. And then you have a night like last night. It's like, whoa. But whereas when he was here, it's like, well, you better do that for what you're getting paid.
Well, I think it definitely, depending on what is being spent is definitely what you're asking for in return. I think that's true in any identity of life. And so that definitely plays a part in what happened with Buddy Hield is you're getting paid $100 million. And that's why I consistently talk about, Draper has defended and spoken highly of Harrison Barnes. And yeah, as a person, as being available as certain things, Harrison Barnes checks all those boxes, but when you start to look at the value of Harrison Barnes' contract is where I have to defend Kings fans is look, because the Kings fans are buying into these tickets and these tickets exemplify what Harrison Barnes is getting paid, then yeah, you have a right to say this dude's getting overpaid.
Oh yeah. I was never a big Buddy guy when he was here.
Right. Like, and so I think that's part of it is, and I don't know, I'm just guessing. I also think that the reins were given to Buddy to be a focal point, and kind of what you're saying with that article is he was given the reins to go out there and be, a guy. And a lot of times that didn't pan out. And so, yeah, man, he got 4 for 37.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to sign Buddy Hield for 4 for 37? But when you're talking about 100, that's a different look.
Chris the Mom says, I didn't have a problem with Buddy. I thought he got his money after making his request public. But after that, fans were giving him a bad time for his boneheaded mistakes, not coming through at times. It didn't help that he was part of the trade and then it didn't go through. And he ended up staying another season. Yeah, so he was going to go to the Lakers, right? For Kuzma.
Traded, yeah.
Yeah.
So sound like the depends on who you ask. The Lakers didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Kings didn't want it at one point in time. Who knows?
Yeah. Supposedly what I heard was LeBron decided, no, we want Russ instead, and that kiboshed the deal. Somebody points out that Buddy said some off-color things about Sacramento in the background of a Pacers shoot around.
That was after.
Yeah.
That was after the point. So that factors into not what you're asking.
And one of the things I remember about that is last season when they were here, when the Pacers were here, I was sitting, just in media row, and there happened to be 2 women who work for the Pacers sitting near me, and they were asking, why are people booing Buddy Hield? What did he do? I was like, well, I can't really tell you. He said something he shouldn't have said. I'll just say that.
Well, I think if we're looking at the scope of post Buddy Hield being traded, then yeah, there's good reason. He's been on camera and caught. But the question becomes, why did he lose favor while he was here?
Yes.
So,
thanks for getting us back on track.
I'm not exactly sure. I wasn't close to the Buddy situation, and I didn't follow the Buddy situation tight enough to really get a good understanding. Just as you talked about, I think he was given the reins, necessarily didn't pan out, under Luke. Also, you look at the Luke regime, that didn't necessarily pan out. So maybe he was just part of a bigger thing that, a bigger project that didn't work. I always thought Buddy always played available. He was always available, not necessarily saying that he came out to play ball, but he was always available.
Yeah. I got the sense that he was not quite as good as he thought he was. And he always kind of played with that sense of, I'm being disrespected. I'm better than they're treating me here. And now, he's just like playing because he's got to play to earn his spot and his minutes on the team, and he's playing well.
Yeah. No,
he came through, and he can always shoot.
Oh yeah. I can understand. And one of the pet peeves for Kings fans that you always heard about Buddy was he couldn't dribble. He couldn't take people off. And even Jimmy Butler joked about it at game 2 or whatever. Please, Buddy, stop dribbling. Or was that playing game?
Yeah.
So it's do what you do. And I think that plays into what you're saying. Do what you do best, which is shoot.
Right.
We don't necessarily need you to take nobody off the dribble. We'll need you to be creative and get kicking out and creating a shot for somebody else. Just do what you do great. And the Buddy Hield that we all come to know and love, meaning Jimmy Butler and the Warriors, will shine through. I'm not sure that happened here in Sacramento. And again, I go back to it. You give somebody $100 million, I need you to do a little more than shoot.
Yep. And you got to bring a little positive attitude.
Yeah, that too.
There's been a couple games in this series where afterwards, and yesterday was another one, where the Warriors are talking about, oh, he played good defense. And I'm like, I must be hallucinating. What is going on? Is anything real in the world anymore?
Who did I it might have been Big Perk. Big Perk after the game yesterday said that Steph Curry's defense is not getting a light shined on it in the form of he's playing very good team defense and that he's always played very good team defense. And I was like, you know what? I can buy into that, Perk. I get what you're saying, but those are the things that we fail to, bring up and then have people resonate with because we're just looking at the shots that he's making, the fantastic moves he's making. And
including one last night where apparently it's like
he traveled.
Yeah. On that incredible
I liked
underneath.
It. Yeah. I guess if there's any time for NBA not to call it travel, it's something like that.
That's the whole
That's
idea.
Beautiful.
That's why they let the travel go when they do. It's so pretty.
Yeah, but there's a lot of times travel ain't called. It's like, come on, what are we doing? I saw one with Peyton Pritchard, and someone was like, he traveled 4 times in one play, and no one called it. It was a jab step, a move that he, Euro step, and he did travel about 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
No one called it at all.
Some NBA fans were really upset at the NBA for the way they handled the setup for that Game 7 last night. We'll look at that also, who the Kings worked out today and why and what it might mean as we roll on. Jay and Whitey, Drive Guys, Sacktown Sports.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at PowerCopiers.com.
The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship is back for another thrilling season at Monterey's iconic WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, May 9th through the 11th. Only in Monterey can you experience a high-octane mix of international drivers, cutting-edge prototypes, and GT sports cars racing wheel to wheel. There'll be gourmet food, wine, craft beers, family entertainment, and exclusive fan engagement with the drivers in the open race paddock. Buy your tickets now and experience world-class motorsports. Visit WeatherTechRaceway.com. Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is only a few weeks away with Bailey Zimmerman. Cole Wetzel. Plus Billy Currington, Nate Smith, Ernest, and more. Friday and Saturday, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo. Don't miss pop-up stores, food trucks, line dancing, and more. Country in the Park, celebrating 25 years, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Goldfield Trading Post, Java City, and Elemental Wine. Get tickets and more at CITPFest.com.
For 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland, and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
At Valley Strong Credit Union, we know that local businesses are the backbone of the Central Valley, investing in our neighborhoods, boosting the economy, making the Valley stronger. But when it comes to their finances, where can they turn? A big bank that just sees another number? That's not good enough. Valley businesses deserve Valley support for payroll, credit, cash flow, and everything in between. Valley Business is Valley Strong. Learn how our cash management services can support your business at valleystrong.com.
At SMUD, we power local business with incentives on clean energy equipment, tools to manage electricity usage and save money, tailored solutions from dedicated strategic account advisors, and 50% lower rates than neighboring utilities, all while doing more for the planet with clean energy solutions, savings, reliability, personalized service, clean energy, helping local businesses thrive. That's our clean power promise. Learn more at smud.org.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
Congratulations to the NBA 24-25 Coach of the Year, Kenny Atkinson of the Cavs. Just announced moments ago. Shams with the post on X. Kenny Atkinson, former coach of the Nets, former Warriors assistant, the Coach of the Year. I know one of the other candidates, oddly enough, was the guy he replaced in Cleveland, Bernie Bickerstaff, JB Bickerstaff, actually, pardon me, JB Bickerstaff, who had been the coach of the Cavs, went to Detroit. He also was a coach of the year nominee. So Kenny Atkinson, the coach of the year, but Jay, his Cavs are in trouble after dropping the opener to Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, it's going to be a good series. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Darius Garland didn't play, so that plays a part in it. But I expect a good series, 6 or 7, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think Mobley also is questionable for tomorrow. DeAndre Hunter.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Anytime you lose game 1 of a best 7 at home, you're in trouble.
Yeah, very true.
Time to fix it, but I'm not saying they're done, but that's not good.
I was pleased to see Donovan Mitchell continue to play ball in the playoffs. I think he's someone that has been, chastised throughout his career for not showing up in huge games and throughout playoff potential. I think he is changing that. Of course, not one series or one game in a second series is going to change all of that, but I do think Donovan is starting to come out and showcase and let people know why he is a star in this game.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting to me with all the talk about, should the Kings tank or not? You look at Donovan Mitchell, who's been with Cleveland now. It's been 3 seasons, right? Since he got traded he's just finished his 3rd season. Utah tore everything down. They traded Gobert to Minnesota. Gobert and the Timberwolves have had a lot of success, and they're still playing. And then you trade Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs. They're still playing. And what has Utah done? And yes, they've been tanking. They've torn it down. In 3 years, they haven't done anything. And they won, 17 games last year. So Danny Ainge has been very patient. He's had that reptilian patience, just waiting. But they just they re-signed their coach. They extended Will Hardy after a 17-win season. So on the one hand, you can say, everything's on track there in Utah. But Jay, those fans there, they've had to be patient. So they're hoping they hit on Cooper Flag. But it's 3 years since they got rid of those 2 guys, and those 2 guys are both doing great. And the Jazz are still, we're coming. We don't know when, but we're coming. Watch out for us. It's been 3 years.
Yeah, what's interesting is, and I've said this a few times, but not out loud, and we haven't gotten to this point yet, but Danny Ainge is considered one of the greats at what he does. But I'll tell you one thing, and I think Draper said this for me to even realize it, or maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was somebody off air or something. But Danny doesn't pull the trigger too often, and we consider him great. He has a ton of picks, but he ain't doing nothing with them.
Yeah.
And that's just exactly what you're saying. But I got a different perspective from someone who said, you don't pull the trigger until you have the guy. And I'm a firm believer, as you know, of having the guy. And so he just keeps putting it off. Keeps putting it off and keeps putting it off. And I'll be honest, I hope he don't get the guy this year too, because I'd sure like to see what they do. And hopefully the Kings can move up. But, it's wishful thinking. I just would like to see him get – the one thing I'm not sure about Danny is if he's creative. So for him to get all the love, I would love to see it be creatively, gotten compared to, Cooper Flag came to you and dropped it. Now you got the guy. I know it happens that way in the NBA, but I'd love to see Danny get a little creative and go get the guy too.
Yeah. Scott Perry said last week there's no shortcuts. And you see that in the NBA. Teams try to take shortcuts, and sometimes they don't work.
No.
Danny Ainge is taking the no shortcuts to the extremes. Like,
Yes.
nope, we're waiting till we land that guy in our draft. It's been 3 years, Danny.
I know.
No shortcuts. Okay.
Keep coming to the average. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then why not spend marketing? Because he could have got another 4 picks last year when he was super high.
I think he likes marketing and thinks we're probably going to get this thing on track while he's still productive. He could still be a useful piece for me. He's not the guy,
right?
But he's a good player, so I can use him. And then, he was like, if someone wants to give me way more than he's worth, I'll take it. Other than that, I'd just as soon keep him around. And I don't know what it is, but their payroll can't be very high right now.
No.
So I was like, we got enough. Well, we'll pay him.
Trying to see how Laurie's 27. So he's in NBA terms, he's getting close
He
to
is.
He's in his prime pretty much, right? Or if not, will be in his prime here next year or so. Put up 19 points last year, 6 rebounds, 42% field goal percent shooting. But I like Laurie. I'm not sure if I think he's a 3. Be interesting to see what they do if they don't get the guy. But I'd be even more interested, Whitey, to see how long Danny's going to sit on some of these picks, because also some of these picks are now starting to come up for Utah here coming next year.
Yeah, I know that he's hoping to, capture the flag. Couple quick thoughts here on Buddy Hield in the Chateau. Gavin says, problem with Buddy, so he thought he was a number 1 when the reality is he's more like a 4. That's kind of what we were saying, something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Philip Cole says, Buddy is playing well because everyone is focused on Curry. He's just in the right system. Yeah, he got a lot of wide open looks too. Spreadly knocked him down, but you're right. Just catch and shoot. Bruno in Micaritaville. If Buddy played MLB.
Where?
Micaritaville?
Where the heck is that at?
If Buddy played MLB, this is all in caps for some reason.
Okay.
If Buddy played MLB, he would hit 50 bombs and bat 092.
That's happening in a lot of places right now, I feel like. $155.
Yeah. You hit 50 bombs, you bat 092. You're still going to make a lot of money.
Oh, for sure. Because that means you probably got 100 runs and 100 RBIs. Yeah, no doubt. You're slugging us through the roof.
Jay, I believe the Major League average for batting average, I think it's below 242 again.
Dang. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's why you could go out here 200, brother.
I don't know about that.
Nah, you could, man. You could.
Yeah, I could.
Torpedo
I got
bat.
DH for and what was that? Sophomore baseball. I got DH'd for.
Well, you know what? I'll just say this: did you guys win a championship?
No, we did not.
Did you get to the playoffs?
No, we did not.
You know why? That's bad coaching. That's what that is. Okay, if you'd had better coaching,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Got to get better here. You know? Do you remember the coach?
Yeah, I'm not going to say.
Oh, okay. Well, bad coaching by him.
He was a good coach.
Yeah.
By the way, some NBA fans were apparently really upset about something last night in the Game 7. I noticed it, and it's usually the type of thing that would bug me. I noticed it when the game started, and I was like, whatever. But apparently a lot of people were upset, Jay. They were upset at the league and the commissioner because the Warriors and the Rockets in the Game 7 were wearing alternate jerseys on an alternate floor.
H-Town.
Kevin O'Connor, our buddy, posted alt jerseys and an alt court for Game 7. Come on.
That's Draper's buddy.
I can't believe that because, like I said, that usually bugs me. And I noticed, H-Town. And then once the game started, I didn't care at all.
Yeah, those are the same people who cry about sportsmanship and participation ribbon. That's the type of caliber we're getting from that. Yeah, it didn't bother me at all.
One fan said, I seriously got confused. I thought someone else was playing in Houston right now. Another fan said, the league blows.
Sticklers. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Those are the same people. I'm telling you, those are the same people who wear gloves to a baseball game.
One fan said it's out of control. Warriors have given up on the best uniforms in the NBA that won all those titles. Was sad. At least the home team is wearing white. My goodness, how old are these people? I'm no spring chicken, Jay, but these people sound like they're set in their 1972 ways.
A little bit younger than that old guy.
Yes, that was not an issue at all.
No, it wasn't. Who cares?
You're looking for something to complain about.
Right. Who cares? Yeah, I'm with you on that. Talk to him, Whitey.
Yeah.
Spread the gospel, brother.
Enjoy the game. It was a great
church.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
I'm sure Kyle Draper would say it wasn't a great game, but it was a good game, entertaining game.
Dude, I looked at my phone. That's it. I had to look to see who sent it to me at the top. I know I'm not. I'm in the right thread. Oh man, and Drape's this is just so shameful or something he said. I said, Drape.
Who the Kings worked out today and why next on Sacktown Sports.
At SMUD, we power local business with incentives on clean energy equipment, tools to manage electricity usage and save money, tailored solutions from dedicated strategic account advisors, and 50% lower rates than neighboring utilities, all while doing more for the planet with clean energy solutions, savings, reliability, personalized service, clean energy, helping local businesses thrive. That's our clean power promise. Learn more at smud.org.
You heard the news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See full details and disclaimers.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Father's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for dads and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Have you ever dreamed of shopping for the perfect jewelry from home? Well, now it's possible, and you can even build your credit. PrestigiaJewelers.com now offers online shopping, making us the premium credit jeweler nationwide. With an exceptional selection of fine jewelry from engagement rings and gold chains to sparkling diamond earrings and much more. With over 30 years of experience, Prestigio guarantees you'll find exactly what you're looking for. It's fast and easy. Once approved, you'll receive a guaranteed credit line from $400 to $10,000. All you need is to be 18 years or older, have a valid form of ID, be employed for a minimum of 6 months, and a bank account for automatic payments. PrestigiaJewelers.com is the perfect way to establish or reestablish your credit with interest rates at only 2.25% per month. We are here to help you with monthly reporting to all major credit bureaus. The perfect jewelry, the perfect price, helping you build perfect credit. Visit us online at PrestigiaJewelers.com or at one of our locations in Sacramento, Stockton, Merced, and Fresno. Enter code SACTOWNSPORTS at checkout to save 10%.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Can you believe what Buddy Hield did last night? Old Buddy Hield, former Sacramento King. Good for Buddy. Good for Tyrese Halliburton. For the Kings, onward and upward. With Mike Woodson in line, potentially to become Doug Christie's lead assistant. We can't, as Kings fans, we can't sit there and bellyache about, I can't believe this guy did that. He used to be on the Kings, and that guy did that, and he used to be on the Kings. Woo, boo, hoo, hoo. Come on. Loser talk, Jay. As we said earlier, we're better than that.
Definitely better than that.
Yeah. Good for old Buddy. Somebody in the chateau points out, all it took was 3 Hall of Famers to straighten Buddy out. That's all it took. We didn't have that here, right? Buddy's a humbled bumble now. What he's been through, you know, and he's maybe finding his stride a little bit. I know somebody here in the chateau, Gavin, says this series felt like 2 years ago, Kings team against the Warriors, which ultimately we lose at Game 7, but then they got blown out the next series. I think that'll happen again, says Gavin, expecting the Timberwolves.
And them come out strong, huh?
Tear into the Warriors. They definitely have a huge, everything else aside, Minnesota with a huge rest advantage over an older team in Game 1 tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. They the Warriors, Steph played a lot of minutes, and I know they didn't play a lot of minutes in Game 6 because they got blew out. Steve Kerr did come out and say, hey, listen, my boys are ready to play some long minutes today, you know, a lot of minutes. So they played it. They needed it, you know, to get the W. Be interesting to see can Ant, and, you know, it's not just on Ant, but now we're getting to the point where your stars are going to come out. And Ant's been a star. He's shown that he can ball in the playoffs. Can Ant match Steph, and can Steph match Ant? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler back against Minnesota. He played his way out of Minnesota. Didn't want to be there.
About 7 stops ago, but yeah, I got it.
It was an especially egregious one. I guess all of his kind of have.
Yeah, and different ownership and all kinds of stuff, you know. But one thing I do know as an athlete, you definitely need something to get you going. And no doubt, Jimmy Butler probably doesn't need anything to get him going, but I'm pretty sure he gets to Minnesota and feels a certain way too. He's like, yeah, all right, let me go get these boys, so super interesting.
Don't you think if you're the Rockets, you got to feel bad that last night you kind of came out a little flat in a game 7 for whatever reason? I know Ime Udoka even mentioned that after the game. We saw that with the Kings often this year. You see it sometimes. It happens, I know, but game 7, I think a lot of it was just the way the Warriors played, but you had Van Vliet screaming at Şengün, wake up! It just came out a little game 7. I guess maybe that's part of the learning experience, but that has to be frustrating.
Yeah. Pretty sure there's a few different things if we were writing on a whiteboard, if we're the Rockets, that would be frustrating. But it happens. It's part of the game. These are why we talked about Buddy Hield, shortcomings sometimes. I think these are the things that separate great from good, good from bad, and just being average. And the Rockets have to learn. They have to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves Şengün. He surely disappeared last night. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, though.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people got super love for him, but he was getting work last night. Didn't really see it doing his thing. But, a lot of people jumping on Jalen Green. So you're going to get these type of conversations to be had because guys are making a ton of money. They finished at the top of the West. But it's tough to beat, as someone said, 3 Hall of Famers.
Yeah. Well, Amen Thompson is just.
Oh, he's a beast.
Yeah, and then he hurt his calf last night. Wasn't the same after that, but
he's a beast.
He get the ball, and that he's going to try to take the ball right to the rim.
Yeah,
and he would.
Yeah,
even though they knew that's what he was going to do.
What's interesting about the Rockets? They're missing the guy, but they have a lot of B guys and C guys, and they're going to have to move off a few of those B or C guys to get the guy.
Maybe.
I'll be hunting.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking of that, just that point. If I were running the Rockets, I would consider hoping and planning on one of my guys rising rather than going out and getting a guy.
Dude, so you would give them one more year kind of together?
I might. Yeah.
That's a good point, Whitey. It's a very good point. Thompson could be one of the guys moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sold on Şengün being – I think he's great at what he does. I'm not sure he can go get you 50 when you need 50. And there aren't many people who can, so I know it sounds crazy. But I love what he did in game 5. He took over on the back end. The Warriors won game 5. Yeah, so game 5 where he – and you could see Ime and them were like, listen, you got someone tiny on you, go bust them. And he did. He was exerting all kind of type of footwork, spin moves. His go-to is a spin move.
Yeah, but he likes to shoot that kind of Nowitzki one
fade,
foot.
drop back.
Yeah, and then last night he looked like Nowitzki if Nowitzki was sniffing glue or something. Right? Like what? Just these terrible shots.
Well, you know what it was?
Defended.
Kayvon Looney and Draymond on you.
Yeah,
and Jimmy sporadically on you too.
Mm-hmm.
You could see the spin move, and if I was to talk to Draymond, you got to give him super love. You could see Şengün come down,
right,
and you see Draymond get ready to. Here comes a spin move, and he played it perfectly.
Yeah,
and you let Şengün right into his body, and as you said, take a step back, fade, and now I got you.
Yeah,
you can see Looney do it a couple times too.
Yeah, once you're
scouted.
Because he's almost 7 feet.
Yes.
I don't think he's quite 7 feet. Yeah, you're going to step back. You're doing me a favor. If
True.
You're bigger than me and you're going to shoot a fall away, you're already doing me a favor.
Yeah, very true. That very, very true.
Let's look at the size of the guys that worked out with the Kings today. They worked out about 7 guys. One guy that stands out here of this group. This is according to SI.com. Darian Williams appears to be the most likely player to end up with the Kings. Won't go through all of them here. Bless them. They could all be professionals, but they're not especially well known. But Darian Williams is a Sacramento native, Capital Christian alum, commonly mocked in the 40s, where the Kings are slated to pick 42nd. So Darian Williams from Texas Tech.
Yes, sir.
Small forward, 6'6", 225, does a lot of things. Had a real high usage rate in college, so he had the ball all the time, and he's probably not going to have that in the NBA. But of the guys they worked out today, Silas Demery, Wooga Poplar, Tamar Bates, Amari Williams, Ruben Chinyelu. He looks like the one that maybe would have a chance to actually be drafted. So given that the Kings, as of right now, they don't appear likely to have a number 1 pick.
Right.
These, again, nothing against them, but this wasn't like a bumper crop of players coming through today.
Yeah, Darian Williams had the opportunity to see him down in Golden State. What is Golden State? But in San Francisco for the tournament. You know, he's one of the guys on Texas Tech. He is small. He's kind of in between guy because he's 6'6". He's listed out as a power forward. He's sticking the hindquarters. You know, think young Charles Barkley. But he can shoot it. Definitely can shoot it. You know,
from pass a little bit too,
and he can pass a little bit. He's a creator. It's going to be interesting to see where he sits. And I just really think if he was 2 inches taller, he'd go higher. You know, and if he was 2 inches smaller and he was a little quicker, he'd probably go a little higher. I like his game, of course. You know, being here from Sacramento. He went to UNR, but if I'm not mistaken, University of Nevada, Reno as well. He is a guy that I think Kings fans will look and be like, yeah, we kind of got a few of those people, you know? And so he's not very long. I don't want to say he's not athletic because he is a creator, but his athleticism doesn't jump, as they say, here we go, you know, NBA draft style. It doesn't jump off the chart for me.
A guy like that's going to have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He plays below the rim.
And there's actually, of these 6 prospects, the heights, 6'5", 6'5", 6'5", 6'6", 6'10", and 6'11".
Yeah.
So, hopefully, you know, Kings get lucky in next week's lottery, which would change in some ways. Yeah.
May 12th, right?
Yeah. Could change the projection of the whole franchise. Probably won't. I know we'll all get excited. I'll be watching.
Right.
You know, the odds are very slim.
Have you taken the time to, and I know you haven't watched a lot of college basketball this year, but have you taken the time to look at the draft and kind of, you know, get the basis on what people are talking about the draft yet?
Just kind of started doing that actually this morning, looking at a few things.
So for me, I think it's a 4-man draft, but it's deep in the fact that you might have some guys who can protect, you know, who might fizzle out to be very, very good. Like there's a lot of high ceilings for a lot of people, but I think this really comes down to about 4. You know, T. Johnson, of course, being from UT Hookham, Derek Queen, big center of Maryland, like those guys, you know, 5, 6, 7, they'll probably factor into some of that. But if you're really looking at it, it's Ace Bailey, Harper, Cooper, and VJ Edge come out of, you know, so it's going to be interesting because it really comes down to like 4 guys. If you can get lucky and get one of those 4. Now, again, there's some guys out there who have high ceilings. So I was going to ask you, like, do you like Derek Queen? Are you sold on him being 6'10" and being a center? You know, so once you start to come across
like
that,
Queen.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about T. Johnson from Texas?
Don't know enough about him. And I looked over here because I know somebody had something to say about a player, but it wasn't him. All right. Skip says pulling for Tamar Bates to have a good showing. Likely won't get drafted, but he can play in the league. All right. So now Skip is an NBA scout.
Shouts out to Skip, man. And we all are something, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Skip's a good guy. He's just got this whole, I don't know, the whole Missouri thing. I don't know if he's from there.
You're reading through the tea leaves?
I'm guessing that's why he likes Tamar Bates. It's a Missouri thing. When we come back, what Mike Woodson could bring to Scott Perry's party next on Sacktown Sports.
Found your dream home online, but here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Postseason dunks, threes, buzzer beaters. There's so much NBA happening. I gotta keep up.
Whoa, take it easy there. There's a better way to NBA. All playoffs long.
Wait, really?
With the NBA app, you get real-time stats and scores for every playoff matchup. Witness playoff drama as it unfolds.
Seriously?
Catch every bucket all in one place, all for free.
Where have you been all my life?
There's a better way to NBA. Download the app today. Available on the Google Play, Apple app, and Android stores.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See for full details and disclaimer.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, when the A's beat the Rangers in Arlington to kick off the most recent road trip, with J.P. Sears getting his fourth win, the A's improved to 15-14, the latest in a season they've been over 500 since 2021. Can they contend this year? Well, as we close the book on April, the American League West is the tightest division in baseball. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
Whitey here with another great grilling tip. The Napoleon Stainless Steel Prestige 500 Connected Propane Grill with infrared side and rear burner featuring Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity brings you closer to your grilling experience than ever before. The Napoleon Connected lets you monitor temperatures, set timers, and receive high temp warnings. Boop, boop. All from your smartphone with temperature probes and LCD display. You'll always know exactly what's happening inside your grill. Napoleon's LED control knobs even illuminate for nighttime entertaining and feature safety glow. Napoleon Grills, simply the best.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emron Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
KHD KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140. Live and local, it's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Congratulations in order. I think that's a traveling Wilbury song. Congratulations. Congratulations to Kenny Atkinson, the 2024-25 NBA Coach of the Year. Is that an honor that you really want? Sure. Although you check a list here of recent Coaches of the Year, which we're about to do, hasn't always gone the way you would have expected for them. Kenny Atkinson this year, Coach of the Year, great year, although the Cavs dropping game one yesterday, already in a spot of trouble in that series. Mark Daigneault last year, Coach of the Year. Incredible story. They're on their way probably to win the NBA championship this year. Then in 2023, the Coach of the Year. Remember this, Jay? Remember this guy, Mike Brown?
Why are you bringing up old stuff, Whitey?
Well, I'm just looking at the list here. The year before Mike Brown, Monty Williams was the Coach of the Year with Phoenix. Then he went to Detroit, and he's no longer, neither one of those guys currently employed. Tibbs won in 21. Nick Nurse in 2020 with Toronto, no longer there. Mike Budenholzer in 2019 with the Bucks. You know, his sad story. 2018, Dwayne Casey with the Raptors. You know, 2017, Mike D'Antoni with Houston, and now we're going back a ways. Steve Kerr in 2016. Budenholzer again in 2015 with Atlanta. And 2014, of course, was Greg Popovich. Did you happen to see any of Pop's press conference today?
No, not at all.
It was very heartfelt. He basically was formally announcing that he was stepping down as coach, and he's had a stroke. So I watched with my wife, who has no idea what is, she hasn't treated him or seen him, or she works with people who've had strokes, so she was interested to see how he spoke and everything. She said he looks like he has some physical issues, but he's still functioning at a very high level. His speech was a little affected, but you could understand him. It just looks like he's really struggling physically a little bit as he walked off. He was accompanied by Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan. It kind of got to me, Jay. Those two guys that went through so much with him, apparently they've been there for all of his rehab, and he made a joke about how people say they're doing it because they love me, but they're not fooling anybody. They're designing all these things I have to do. But it was very touching. The way they were at his side and watching him very, affectionately, but also they very protectively. It kind of got to me a little bit.
I can understand it. I just saw, still pictures. I think maybe I saw him, the revealing of the El Jefe t-shirt he had on when they took the coat
still
off.
Funny. He got a sense of humor.
Right. Man, just wish Pop the best, going through what he's going through physically. And so, blessings, prayers,
absolutely,
everything else, best wishes, anything that, you can say or hope for Pop, shouts out to him. One of the greatest to do it. Absolutely. No doubt.
Yeah. And he said, I'm getting better every day, but still not where it needs to be. So I'm sure he's obviously embraced the rehab. I can't imagine how far he's come in just a relatively short time since he was stricken. And I think he's made great strides, and he's still aiming for the future with this team. That's another team in the West, obviously, that the Kings, you got to look behind you a little bit like, oh man, they got some stuff going on there.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely do. They have some young talent, kind of like the Rockets. They're going to have to make a few decisions on a few players as well, though, because of the way this cap is built. We've had people come on the show. You're going to have one run, and it seems like, and Anthony Slater joins us every week. It sounds like the run 3 to 4 years. Keith Smith kind of talked about it as well.
Yeah, Keith Smith talked about that.
It's going to be quicker. The window.
You go through it faster.
Yes,
than
you'll see a window. So the Spurs will get ready to hit. They're on the Wemby rookie deal, but that's coming up quick. And he's the type of player where you're probably going to have to make him happy sooner than later.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, I could see it really happening after this year. You might not even get the 5 year, so to say, window with him. He might come to the table and say, nah, look, I'm the face of this franchise right now. I need my whatever I can get. And so it's going to be interesting to see what's going on with them. They have some good young pieces that they've signed to decent deals, but decent deals in this cap strap economy of the NBA, 80, 90, $100 million to a fourth player, those days are long gone. So like a Keldon Johnson deal, they're going to have to move on him soon.
Yeah, like to that point. I know we talked about it, but you had Shams pointing out that the Celtics are expected to maybe move off of some players just because of how expensive they are. They have an excellent team, literally a championship team, but they can't afford to keep everybody because of the economics now. So a lot of teams are facing those crunches. I think given where everything is right now in the NBA in the West, talking about competitively now, not so much financially, although they are, intertwined. I think if you're the Kings, and I think Scott Perry would recognize this, what they've been doing, which is, we're going to try to compete for, maybe we'll get in the playoffs, but at least play in year to year. We'll just try to focus on where we are right now. I don't think it's sustainable, Jay. They broke that playoff drought.
Right.
And 2 years since then, I think it's pretty clear here, like, okay, that we did have some success with that, but we can't keep doing that. We got to take a different approach here.
Which is
I think you got to get younger.
Tear it down? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily have to tear it down, and everyone that we've talked to seems to believe that they are not interested on tearing the whole thing down. They are, as we discussed Friday, the Kings are in pretty good shape in terms of future number ones they have. They have 9. They have all 7 of their next 7 number ones plus 2 that they acquired in trade. So they have a lot of picks that'll help him. It's just too bad they don't have one in the first round this year unless they get lucky. But I think they're going to have to, as Scott Perry said, when he talks about sustained winning. And when he talks about no shortcuts, to me, that's what he's talking about, is putting something together that you can build on, that's built to last, rather than something that's just like, well, we'll be pretty good next year, and then we'll figure out the year after that when we get there.
Yeah, well, I want to wait and see where Scott Perry comes from. I think, I'm a big firm believer that your best move is your next move. And unless otherwise specified, I'm not sure Scott Perry's next move is going to be his best move. I think we'll see a few different moves made that allows him to swing for the fence, or, try to duck up under of maybe, peeling it back and saying, look, we're going to tear it down to the studs. I'm not exactly sure what they want to do. And I think we're all kind of guessing. At this point, rather than speculate, I'm waiting just like everybody else. I want to see Scott Perry's first move.
Yeah.
That to me will exemplify where he's trying to go.
That'll be a real barometer.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
What are we doing? Okay. What'd you do? By the way, it emerged over the weekend that Mike Woodson is apparently in line to become Doug Christie's top assistant. It wasn't even announced that, they're on track to do that, but he may be Doug Christie's top assistant. Mike Woodson, who was an original Sacramento King, was an NBA coach with the Hawks, with the Knicks. So he's known Scott Perry a while. And I think he would be the perfect assistant to help a young coach who hasn't been a head coach very long. There's also the ties to the Kings. I think if it is Mike Woodson, I think the Kings are in really good shape. I think that'd be a great hire.
Is it why I was interested in this, and I'll ask you, and we'll ask Draper tomorrow. Is it and I know, follow me here, I know there's a crossover in both of this. Is it the profile of Mike Woodson, meaning, his history and the fact that he played here and he's been a head coach, and we know he's coming with veteran leadership, and we know he's been able to handle, not only an NBA organization, but also a college a team, or we call them organization now, I guess. Or is it the form of the person himself? Meaning, are we buying into Mike Woodson, or are we buying into the profile of Mike Woodson?
To me, it's a matter of him being not a very egotistical person. Some NBA coaches are, look at me. And he's got just impeccable credentials in terms of playing, at Indiana, and then being a coach in the league for a long time, and having success with a number of franchises. Just rock solid is what I'd say. And again, we talked to him about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's both. It's the personality being a perfect fit for, I think, what the Kings need. And I think the Kings still are looking for some stability. And Mike Woodson, to me, is like, oh, you're not going to get much more stable than Mike Woodson.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's interesting because I found myself questioning not so much Mike Woodson personally, but the fact of, is this the profile that fits what the Kings want? And is this a Scott Perry profile, or is this, we like what Mike brings to the table personally, having some chops here in Sacramento, as you said, impeccable resume when it comes to building being a leader of men, NBA wise, and college too. So, and again, I preface it with saying, I think it crosses over, and I think that's kind of what you want.
Yeah.
You wanted to kind of check as many boxes as you possibly can. But I found it very interesting, Mike Woodson, because now it kind of lets me know, I see where the Kings are going with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good name to be intertwined into the cloud of what the Kings want to do.
What's encouraging to me about it, and again, it hasn't happened yet, he may say, we don't know.
Sure.
But if it is him, he's been a very good defensive coach. And again, that would speak to, if he's your first assistant, then the Kings and Scott Perry, they're backing up this talk about how we've got to have a defensive presence. And I just think until you actually commit to that, you're really limiting what you can ever accomplish. You have to be able to play defense at a much higher level than the Kings have in the last 4 or 5 years. You have to, or you're just not going to get anything done. So to me, that's something of a relief if it is indeed ends up being Mike Woodson. We have, bottom of the hour, we have Johnny Doska. Right?
We have Johnny D.
Yeah, Johnny D coming up bottom of the hour. When we come back, look a little bit at Brock Purdy's potential deal. It continues to look like a win-win. Next with the Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports. Got it.
Stay up to date on Sacramento sports. Join the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit sacktownsports.com.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
You know, every year, Jay, usually it starts a little later than this, but we try to figure out which of the NFL teams that missed the playoffs the previous year are going to make the playoffs this year. And I think it works out to where there's typically an average of about 7. Things have changed since the playoff pool has expanded. But I saw a list today somewhere. It's the first one I've seen this year of 5 teams that missed playoffs last year. They're going to make the playoffs this year. And there's a lot of them that kind of make sense. Like, of course, Cincinnati, maybe the Bears. But number 1 on the list was the San Francisco 49ers. And maybe I'm just I'm just being arrogant like Drapes would say. I was arrogant 49er fans. But I see it and I'm thinking, well, of course it's the 49ers.
That's a given.
Yes.
It's a given, man. Of course the Bang Bang going to be back in there. Everybody's going to be healthy.
Yeah.
Standing on all 10 toes.
And they'll have Brock Purdy under contract,
What's
right?
today?
Probably.
May 5th?
Uh-huh.
And we're already talking about.
Yeah, it's the first one I saw. I had to make sure. It's
Of
just
the
the right
season.
years or something from last October or something.
Dang.
Yeah. So here's the latest on Brock Purdy's contract. Mike Jones in The Athletic writing about it today. And it looks like Mike is pretty much just echoing what we've already been talking about and reading. He says Brock Purdy is expected to wind up with a contract that will pay him around $50 million per season and places him among the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. I think Diana Rossini is the first to report the essence of that. And that brings us back, Jay, to that list, top 10 highest paid NFL quarterbacks by average annual value. I know you and I were talking about this when we were at Tom's. Dak is first at 60, Burrow 55, Josh Allen 55, Jordan Love 55, Trevor Lawrence 55. Then at 6, it's Tua 53-1, Goff 53, Herbert 8th at 52.5, Lamar Jackson 52, Jalen Hurts 51 million. I know some people reacted to this story that said Purdy will get around 50 million. Some people said 50 million, that's awfully low for Brock Purdy. Now, it doesn't say 50, it says somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
But if he ends up in the 52-ish range, do you think all parties can feel like, that's fair? Or should Brock's people say, this is highway robbery. My client's worth way more than $52 million.
No, I think everybody should be able to shake hands and be okay with it. In retrospect, as much as I appreciate Brock, definitely compared to what some of the Tim Rattays, don't have me slide down the list.
Cody Pickett.
Yeah. I don't want to have to slide down the list of 49ers for 49er fans, bring up bad memories like we do here with the Kings. But Brock Purdy hadn't won nothing. That's the truth of the matter. And the fact is,
you don't count an NFC championship.
I bet you he don't even know where that ring is at. Most players don't know where their AFC championship and NFC championship rings are even at. I used to, my aunt and uncle owned a pawn shop in Reno at one point in time. You'd be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised, but I guess figure of speech, people would be surprised how many AFC and NFC championship rings come through there.
Yeah.
No one cares about that, man.
Steven Torres says, love Drapes, but I'm down with some Niners talk with Whitey and Jay. Bang, bang, baby. Let's go. But I can't help myself but to hear Drapes in my head as y'all talk. I can already hear his laugh and what he would say.
Yeah, it's true. But Drapes, the problem now is Drapes can have a great conversation about the 49ers, but there's always going to be something in the back end of Jalen Hurts is a champ. Saquon is a champ. Fly, Eagles, fly. He's going to pull out both of his arms and flap them like a parrot. Whatever he's going to do, he's got. But if it was me, and I think me and you have talked about this, if the 49ers were champs, I'd be obnoxious. Literally, you would have to ban me off air.
Yeah.
And that's okay. No problem. 52 million, 53. I'm on record 50 to 55. I think that's a sweet spot for the 49ers and Brock Purdy.
Yeah, if he ends up, let's say 52, Brock Purdy.
Love it.
That's what Lamar Jackson's getting.
Love it.
Lamar Jackson's pretty good.
Yes.
And also, Steven, this is